Alrighty, thank you for clicking on this video. As you could tell by the title, I will be going through some more information that was given to some fans on Instagram DMs via Evan, who works at Hasbro. He is one of the guys who works on Studio Series. And this first question here, let's get right down to the nitty gritty. This is from Baku Op, I guess that's how you pronounce that, on the TFW boards. He asked, with the cancellation of the game and the known characters that many were hyped to get from it, Power Glide, Sunstreaker, and likely Voyager Scaled Slipstream and separate Voyager Mold Windblade, will we see these designs utilized in the future in Studio Series? I recall either you or someone else a while back had mentioned that any and all the designs / concepts made for Transformers Media are technically owned by Hasbro, so I figured that would make the red tape easier to work around if the CAD models had been provided beforehand. Also, given the output of figures from Transformers 1, will we be seeing some of the generics or other minors put out in Studio Series as well? Really love the designs of Moonracer, Chromia, Sideswipe, and Redwing. I agree, bro. Those are pretty cool. Additionally, what would be done with one's cogless minors that weren't shown to have an alternate form at the end of the movie, like Moonracer? And Evan responded to this Reactivate and Transformers 1 question with, we've actually talked quite a bit about digging into more Reactivate just because of how wonderful all those designs ended up looking. I'd say it's certainly possible, but we're not exactly hurting for content, so it may be a while till it's something we explore. There will certainly be more TF1 figures, I can tell you that for certain, ha ha ha. I don't know if we'd ever do the cogless versions, but a lot of them did get cogged, so I think you can expect them at some point in the future. So these are interesting answers, a little bit to kind of delve into and speculate on. So Reactivate. We know this game is never coming out, but I want to know, so Evan said they're not hurting for content, and I wouldn't say this is like a popular consensus, but some channels on YouTube and some like people in the community try and say like, oh, Studio Series, they're running out of ideas, the Bayverse stuff, they're running out. That's not true at all. There's still a ton of like comic-based, toy-only based Bayverse characters they could do. There's still a ton of characters from the movies even that they still need to do. There's still like toy-only repaints that they've never delved into that could easily fill up some slots in Studio Series at some point. And of course, you got stuff from the comic books, the video games, the cartoons like Prime and Animated that they've been talking about doing in Studio Series, in Trans Tech. Some people forget about them mentioning Trans Tech as an option for Studio Series down the line. So there's still a lot for Studio Series, and this seems like a line that's going to go on for another 10 years, and this is why I think Studio Series is the Transformers version of Marvel Legends going forward. And it just makes sense that Reactivate would be coming. I don't know, I wouldn't expect like our next Reactivate release from concept art. They can change their plans like that. We could see a Reactivate figure in 2027 at the earliest, honestly. But if I'm being real, just going by the information we have right now, I wouldn't expect another Reactivate figure until maybe like 2029 at the earliest, or 2030. And who knows what the price of Deluxe Voyager Leader or Commander Class is going to be back by then, But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say these are something coming relatively soon, but I'd say definitely at some point down the line, within the next 4 or 5 years, we could see our next Reactivate release in Studio Series, whether that's one figure or a couple, who knows, gonna have to wait and see. But I wouldn't be surprised if I have gray hair by the time we get our next Reactivate figure in Studio Series. And going by Transformers 1 stuff, it would make sense that they wouldn't do the COG stuff, because obviously they can't transform, so it would kind of be weird for them to actually, transform in the toy. But, I definitely see a lot of those COG, more so background characters that we see, like Sideswipe or Ironhide, Hound, Moonracer getting figures at some point down the line. I don't know how soon it would be, honestly. But I wouldn't be surprised, since Transformers 1 is very beloved among the fandom, and Hasbro does want to please the fan base along with, outsiders trying to get them to join the fandom as well in the toy lines. I think Transformers 1 stuff could come a lot sooner than Reactivate, because obviously that wasn't canceled, and it's just got a lot more hype overall in the fandom. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see like one of those cogged background characters from the movie within the next like couple years. I could see them maybe at like 2027, 2028 at the earliest. but that's at the earliest. It could be longer, obviously. And this next question is again in regards to Transformers 1. This is from TF on the TFW boards. He asked, I have a question about future TF1 products. As we all know, the movie unfortunately didn't do well at the box office and the sequel is unlikely. My question is, will you continue making TF1 characters in the SS line? I'm mostly talking about background characters like cogged miners, racers, quintessons, and primes. Will you try to make them all despite the movie's poor performance? Also, would the TF1 cogged Orion packs in D16 be new molds or retools of their final forms? I remember you saying they would have to be smaller, so new molds, question mark. And Evan responded with, oh yes, there will be more TF1 characters in SS for certain. We have more than enough to fill up the next 5 to 10 years with everyone that showed up in the film. And then he goes on to say, in regards to the Orion packs in D16 question, probably new molds since their sizes are different. So let's tackle the first question here. So he says filling in content for the next 5 to 10 years. Obviously, he's saying that, these could be spread out releases to fill in, waves, whether that's mainline or exclusives, whatever the case may be. So this is exciting to hear. Transformers 1 stuff, he's said this twice now that I'm covering that, we're definitely going to be seeing more in the next few years. Now, whether that's 5 years from now, I don't know, because again, it did underperform. So I don't know if it kind of takes a back seat in priority for Studio Series, especially since they're bringing in the comic subline. They want to start doing stuff from other cartoons in Studio Series, whether that's Prime, Animated, or Transtech. So we're really going to have to wait and see. But him saying this here that they have enough content from Transformers 1 for 5 to 10 years worth of product to release in Studio Series, that's a great sign. And it seems like, going by his answer there, that they want to do most, if not all, the characters that appeared in Transformers 1, whether that's characters with speaking roles or background characters, quintessons, whatever, which that makes me really excited because there's a lot of cool designs that they could delve into. And the Orion packs in D16 answer, new molds in different sizes. It would make sense. I would see them being maybe like Voyager class in the new molds. I would like to see that because I didn't really think the deluxe figures last year in 2024 were like the greatest. I mean, they were decent, but I just didn't really feel the need to buy them. They weren't anything like spectacular to me, so I really would like to see cogged Voyager class versions of Orion packs in D16. That would be really sick. And the last question and answer I'm going to cover in this video, this is from JaAm Goose on the TFW boards. Pretty cool name there. He asked, I don't know. I know I've been seeing discourse about if the HASLAB molds get repaints such as Yellow Splendid Convoy for RED Optimus or Rescue Force for Lio Kaiser, whether they should be done as something like Selects, Hasbro Pulse exclusives, or separate HASLABs. Do you have any thoughts of how you would like to handle those characters if you were allowed to? And Evan responded with, we have talked about it internally quite a bit. More than likely they would be offered through Pulse as an exclusive. I certainly think getting those awesome redecos out there would be something everyone would get us excited about. Wow, so he's openly saying that they've talked about this at Hasbro a lot recently, and that they want to make these repaints potentially Pulse exclusives at some point down the line? What? So we could get Hasbro Pulse exclusive Universe 2004 Optimus Prime from the HASLAB mold? I mean, I don't know if I would buy that, me personally, considering the QC problems with that mold, unless if they outright confirm and say that they fixed the issues going forward if they were to re-release the mold as a repaint here for Splendid Convoy or whatever. It would really depend on that for me personally. But regardless, that would be crazy. That would kind of be different from what they've been saying about their HASLAB releases the last few years since it started, that, they want to make it very special to fans who backed it. They don't want to do re-releases, which they already kind of backtracked on. I think it was like late 2023 where they resold back stock on HASLAB figures that for some reason didn't make it to people. I still can't remember, or I don't know how that worked. So they obviously are open to reselling or redoing HASLABs and repainting them. So I wouldn't be surprised if some point down the line, maybe next year at the earliest, I mean, we don't know, Hasbro's plans really can differ. I wouldn't be surprised if at some point soon we start seeing repaints of these HASLABs, especially the RAD 2001 HASLAB Ultra Magnus and Optimus molds, because there's a ton of options there, and Hasbro's not going to miss out on hype and making extra cheddar cheese and bank off of these new molds. I definitely think it's going to happen at some point. But yeah, guys, let me know down below, how do y'all feel about all these question and answers from the Instagram DMs I covered in this video. And yeah, guys, thank you for watching this video. Catch y'all in the next one. Bye.